Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Btcusdt right here, and due to popular demand, you guys actually want me to like break down the trade I got on Btcusdt, how I was able to like catch the trade and basically what I saw in the market before the trade, the whole thing plays out. So it's actually very simple, right? And if you can see right here on Btcusdt, we actually turned bearish already, right? Internally rather, right? Internal structure is bearish, right? But then the reverse structure is still bullish. You guys can see that, right? So we just like sell into a bullish spot of interest to continue the reverse structure. But before then, it's like trade internal structure, right? So here we see the market taking out this high right here, and we see the market coming back here to take out this low, right? And even before the market take out this low, market give us a reaction like this, right? You can see right here, market sell back here, go back up before it's definitely break through. So that shit tells us that okay, fine, the buyers actually try their best to like mitigate this demand zone right here and then push the price back up, but they couldn't, right? So basically market take out the low instead. So that tells us that market is now bearish, right? That's a no-brainer initially. That's a no-brainer. This is actually what we call supply and demand fields, right? So in the process where the market expect a demand zone, right, for some time, then later come back to just expect it. A demand or supply zone, rather, any part of interest initially, right? So I mean, when it mitigates it, to react from it, then later break it through, right? It won't really expect it to like sponsor a new because structure or all of that, right? So basically, this was actually when I know that okay, fine, the market is now what is now bearish. So basically, the market now being bearish, which part of interest do we think price actually mitigate to like sponsor or to continue the whole bullish movement, right? So I actually mark out this demand zone right here. Sorry, this supply zone right here, right? Because when you're talking about the pricing of this whole structure, you can see right here, this is actually where the 50% actually, this is where the 50% is, right? So we can actually look out for supply zone in the end of this region and then wait for confirmations and all of that. So I can really see this supply zone right here, but then there were other supply zone in lower time frame, like the 4 hour time frame, I think. Okay, we couldn't really find any supply zone here in the 4 hour time frame, right? But then we can actually refine this one to this point right here. Okay, by the way, the point of interest that I used was from the 45 minutes time frame. Let me show you guys that real quick. Right, from 45 minutes time frame. The thing is, yeah, when I am trading or when I'm like analyzing, I'm just trying to like, I do try to like mark out all of the possible point of interest, right? And then wait for confirmations and all of that. So basically, you can see this very clean supply zone right here, the sweep of liquidity right here. I have this one as an inducement, or basically this very near high right here as an inducement, all of that. Right, so basically that was my 2 point of interest, right? So I have this demand zone right here, and I have this I have this supply zone right here. Okay, all right. So I have the supply zone right here and I have the supply zone right here. By the way, before I actually see all of those things, the market is already around this point. Market was already around this point. This lower here, market was already mitigating the supply zone, right? So I just like see when I saw this overall sale, I was like, oh, what does market mitigated, right? What does market mitigated? Because basically I was actually expecting a buy, right? Let me explain the buy for you guys. So very quick. Alright, so I was actually expecting a buy because I was like, okay, fine, the market is like coming to this supply zone right here. You can see right here, we still have another supply right here. But then let's see, the market is coming to this supply. So basically, market like taking out this high right here was like an international fair. I can see that the market actually reacted from this supply zone to before actually breaking it through. So that means that can still serve as an international character that the market should like sponsor. I mean, we now sponsor price to this spot of interest right here, right? And even after the whole thing, after the market change character right here, I see that the market indicated a fair value gap right here, and then it's now heading to the upside. As I said, when I see the whole thing right here, the market was already at this region, right? I think at this region. So the market has already mitigated these things and it's now like moving to the upside. So I was like, because basically like I really don't like trading against the trend, right? I was actually expecting to buy that the market should buy to be this part of interest even after the mitigation of this fair value gap. But I was like, I really don't like trading retracement basically because it's a very structure. I see no reasons why I should be buying initially, right? Because basically the market can just like continue selling anytime, right? So I don't really want to catch a falling knife and all of that. So I have to just like look at the overall pricing and see where the market reached before actually giving a retracement. So I see like, okay, fine, the market actually mitigated. The market gets to the premium level before this overall drop, right? You can see the market get to the premium level before this overall drop. So then I now go look out for the port of interest that the market mitigated right here. And I came across the 15-minute, the 45-minute supply zone, right? So after the mitigation of that 45-minute supply zone, you can see that the market take out this low. You can see right here, we are now like the whole thing is now like two-sided, right? But the reasons why I'm actually following the bearish one is because the overall structure is bearish, right? So I just like delete the whole bullish footprint I had on my brain about this whole thing right here. So I just delete everything and just focus on the trend, which is bearish. So I see that okay, fine, after the mitigation of this fair value gap, after the mitigation of the supply zone, we have this change of character right here, international factor, indicating that the structure is now like what, bearish. So I have to like look out for the supply zone that I will likely take myself from, because I've actually confirmed the overall buys already, overall sales already. So I just need confirmation. I just need put of interest for entries, right? So I actually need to like brainstorm, because basically this whole thing right here is actually, I mean, it's a whole different story. So we had a breaker block right here, and then this inducement, right? So I mean, I was actually very confused to like, you know, take a trade from this breaker block. But then if I want to like take a trade from this breaker block, I'll be forced to put my stops at the high of this candle, right? Because this was the candle that actually have a sweep, which is this one, right? You can see right here we have a sweep of liquidity right here. So this was the candle that actually had that sweep. So I'll be forced to put my stop loss at this high, because it's meant to be, I mean, it's tend to be a protected high, rather. As you can see, guys, it's mitigated this fair value gap right there. All of those ones are just like minor things, but then I was like, that's a whole lot of pips right here. That was like 260 pip stops, and that is, I mean, almost, I really don't want to do that, right? So I just like, you know, risk the whole thing right here, and then like just for my stop loss right here, I was like, okay, fine. If the market, put my entry right here, I was like, okay, fine. If the market doesn't get to this entry, I will probably miss this trade, and it's better for me to miss that trade down to like, you know, risk that whole thing, because what if it's, you know, what if that setup fails and all of that? So market actually get to that point, right? When you get to that point before the overall sell, so I'll just like get a very good aggressive entry right here. I really don't need any confirmation again, by the way. So I get a very good aggressive entry right here and put my stops right here, and I was targeting the overall low, which is this point, right? So that was actually how I got my first entry. So the second entry actually came after the mitigation of this, and then we have this overall sell right here, and that was like market taking out this low right here. I can see, right, the market actually reacted from this demand zone, any port of interest that we have right there, reacted from it, virtually breaking it. So that tells us that okay, fine, the bearish structure is now bearish officially too. So I'll just go to like the 30 minutes time frame and see the whole thing right here, where I can get a confirmation entry and all of that. So getting to the getting to this time frame, I see that the market actually mitigated this supply, right? The structure right here actually mitigated this supply, right? And this one right here mitigated this supply. Okay, so right here, this was my last word to actually look out for. This will be the last trend, or the last structural leg where I will look out for my port of interest. And beforehand, I can see that we have a sweep of liquidity already, so this tends to be my protected high rather, right? That will be my protected high, right? So I'll just like go to like the 45 minutes time frame and look out for port of interest in that region. So I couldn't see anything, but here this is like a wick, which tends to be like an 18 base or all of that. I have to go lower to like, you know, get a more precise or a well structured port of interest. So I couldn't find anything right here in the 30 minutes. I had to go lower to the 15. So it was 15 minutes I saw this overall supply zone right here. It was a little bit big, by the way, but then I had to just like take the trade from there already, because it's created an original liquidity, and the original liquidity is actually very near. So I can't tell if the market will like, you know, mitigate this thing and then start selling or get to the 50%. It actually got to the 50%, but I didn't get my entry from the 50%, but rather the supply zone itself, right? Because I know that the viral TP, I mean, the RR is actually, it makes a lot of sense. That's like 1 to 7.7 thereabout. So that was actually how I got this viral trade right here, and my TP was at this low right here. So I have two entries, right? This is the extreme entry right here, aggressive entry rather, and then TP was here, right? TP was there, and then same thing right here. So the two port of interest actually, I mean, the two entry actually have the same TP, and I think I held this one to like somewhere around here, thereabouts. I don't know, but I mean, I think I closed the first entry at somewhere around here, thereabouts, and then the second entry was held till TP and all that, right? So I think I saw an entry opportunity right here, but actually I missed it, so I couldn't really get the entry opportunity right there. So I just like rather hold these two previous entries that I had, and that was just a simple approach of how I catch the viral sales on Btcusdt, and we're talking about thousands of pips right here, right? So this one right here, the first entry actually gave me 1,400 pips, while the second one gave me around 1,000 pips, 1,006 pips there, 1,110 pips there about. So that was the viral thing. It's actually very simple and straightforward, right? Just like following the structure, following the right structure, or the order flow of the market, getting or marking out your pot of interest, waiting for confirmation, which is like normal change of characters and all of that. So that was just like the reason why I took the trade, and this was how it plays out. Very simple and straightforward. So I really hope you guys understand this whole thing right now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.